Well, hello. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Visual Storytelling with Adobe Spark. Today we're looking at Adobe Spark Page. Yesterday we took a look at Adobe Spark Video, and on Tuesday we took a look at Adobe Spark Post. All of these presentations, as well as their live recordings, are available in the Canvas shell for you to access forever. Let's go ahead and get started. This course is brought to you by Innovation Week and Innovation Quarter at ASU. A great way to lifelong learn, one of the goals that we have at ASU. In this class, we will utilize the participants window as well as the chat window. If you don't have those open, go ahead and navigate to the bottom of your Zoom screen and click on participants to open that participants window. There you'll find some buttons at the bottom that say yes and no. I'll ask a couple of yes and no questions during our I'm realizing maybe you can't hear me. Yes or no, can you hear me? Yes, okay, cool. I just looked at my microphone and thought, oh no, it's off, but it's not. Great. Step one, microphone is on. All right, thank you so much for testing out that yes and no in the participants window. I'll go ahead and clear those answers. The next thing is the chat window. Go ahead and navigate to the bottom of your Zoom screen. Click on chat. If you don't see it, there might be a box with ... Go ahead and click that and you should see chat there. You should feel free anytime to ask questions. You can post them in the chat or in the participants window, you can raise your hand and I'll call on you to unmute your mic and share, but you should feel free to do that at any time. Today, we will be going over Adobe Spark Page. Ooh, that says post, but we're definitely going to be doing page. We'll do a brief introduction. I'll give you some resources, including some new ones for today. We'll go over an overview of Spark. We'll go pretty quickly because I believe most of you joined me on the other 2 days. And then we'll get into Adobe Spark Page, what it does, why we should use it, and how that works. I'll give you a couple of examples that I have done in the past. And then, of course, we'll have some design time. And if you're feeling up to it, you will be able to share what you designed today. I am Christina Karaskia, and I am a senior lecturer at ASU in the Fulton Schools of Engineering. My expertise area lies in design technology. Adobe Spark is what we're here to talk about for this 3-day session, and I have provided some resources for Adobe Spark, both here in the presentation as well as in the Canvas site. Adobe has its own help page, help website with support, and there are several LinkedIn learning courses that will go a little more in depth into all of these things. If you are employed by ASU, and many of you are, you do have access to all of the LinkedIn learning courses for free, which is an amazing benefit. Adobe Spark is a suite of applications. There are 3 within the Spark series. There is Post for making graphics, Video for making videos, and Page for making web pages. And that's what we'll focus on today. It is free for all, Spark, and it includes free access to templates, images, graphics, and icons. You may also upload your own. It also stores all of your work in the cloud, and additionally, you can save it and share it. For free, it comes with a watermark, and for paid, you can take that watermark off. You can also start to save brands. And throughout the week, you've seen in my Adobe Spark where I have brands saved, and it automatically adds content in for that to kind of make sure it's branded, as well as colors. And part of that artificial intelligence that it has is it says, oh, you're working for this brand, you probably want to use these colors, which is pretty awesome. It also allows you to work with a team and, of course, get premium assets. If you already have a Creative Cloud account, you have access already to this premium version. If you're signing in for the first time to Spark, go ahead and navigate there now. I'll copy that link and put it into the chat for you, although I believe most of you were here joining me either yesterday or Tuesday, so should be up and running with that. You can sign in with your single sign-on for Facebook, Google, Apple ID, and of course, Adobe Creative Cloud. And if you have that, that is the one you should use. It unlocks those premium accounts. Adobe Spark Page, this says video, should say page. Adobe Spark Video is available on the web and on iOS. It is not yet available on Android, but I would guess anytime soon we will see that coming through, as they did just post the Android version for Adobe Spark Post recently. But let's talk about Adobe Spark Page. What is it? Well, Adobe Spark Page is a super easy way to make a web page. Note, this is not a website. It is one single page. You may hear this called a one-page web page. And it shares a single idea. When you want to share a single thought or a single event or a single story, this is really a great place to go. If you're making sort of a hub for resources, this might be a great use for that, but it's not going to be a collection of web pages. It really is a single web page that they've set up to be sort of foolproof design. In fact, very similar to the video that we took a look at yesterday. This web page could serve as an interactive presentation. And I know coming into the class, several of you said, I want to be able to up my game in presentation. And I'll show you exactly how I've used it, which is just like that, sort of a hub web page with information on a single topic, and it has interactive presentation in it, which is pretty awesome. It is great for a single event, maybe sending out an invitation for an event, telling a story, giving an explanation, or promoting an idea. And it does collect images, graphics, video, animations, and text. In fact, we will today kind of incorporate the images we made from Adobe Spark Post and the video we made yesterday in Adobe Spark Video. Those will come right into Page, which is why I saved it for last. So why would we use Adobe Spark Page? Well, for non-designers, it's a quick and easy way to make stunning web pages with web design. It requires absolutely no code. In fact, you cannot even access the code to tweak it, which is going to be a pain for designers or developers, but also is its superpower is that it is what it is and you can make something really quick. It does offer a lot of design constraints, which means it's hard to mess up. It uses that artificial intelligence to lay out the graphics you're putting on the page, to choose the fonts and what size it is. You can, of course, change those, customize it a little, but in general, it's going to place things on the page in what it thinks is the best place. It's also a free web host, so you don't have to worry about paying a web host. It's going to host those images for you, which is that website, that web page for you. Designers will love it because there's a quick turnaround. You can design on the fly, and you can also easily set this up for your clients so that they can make these pages and promote their brand in sort of a design-proof kind of way. All right, so how does this work? Step one, we're going to start a project just like we did any other day. Step two is that we're going to choose a web page. You'll note with this one, as in video, there's only one choice, right? When we looked at post, you had lots of choices. Facebook, Instagram, what kind of post you wanted to do. But with video and web page, you have one choice. So we'll go ahead and choose a web page. That'll bring you to the artboard where you will add a title and a subtitle. If you don't have one at the time that you go to make this, you can always change it later, but you'll add that there. You'll also see that there's an opportunity to add an image. I'll get there in a second. The next step would be to choose a theme. So at the top right, you can choose the theme. You can see here that I have a brand, my GIT brand loaded, and the first options it's giving me are using the logo and the colors from that brand. So it's already smart design decided, oh, you might want to start with this because this is for your brand. But you can scroll down and choose other designs as well. Once you've added your theme and your title, you can add a photo for the background of your title. And then you can add your content. And this is it. There will just add chunks of content under vertically, and you can choose from only these options, including a photo, some text, a button, video, a photo grid, or a glide show, which is super fantastic way to create a really powerful interactive presentation. Or you can choose split layout. So these are the only layers that you can choose. So you can see that top chunk that says add a title, and we'll add a photo behind it. And then you can just choose from this option, these options over and over, and it'll just vertically add a stack to the page. So really simple to kind of organize and get started. So let's take a deeper dive into those pieces of content. The first is image, and you'll notice that panel looks exactly like it did for post and video. So you'll be able to choose or upload your photos. The next option is to add some text. And here you can see that the text is actually got like a little WYSIWYG editor for it. You can add an H1 or an H2. And if you're not a web developer, that means heading 1 and heading 2, right? Your main point and sort of a subtitle for it. You can add quotes, you can add lists, whether they're numbered, ordered or unordered. You can change bold, italic, you can add some hyperlinks, and you can even justify the text, but that's about it. So you do have some flexibility there. Again, you won't have any access to the code, so you won't be able to customize it any more than that. The next type of content that you have is a button. So you can add that call to action. What is this whole web page about, and what do you want to call people to do? So you can put some text on the button, as well as a website or a link where you want it to go. You can align it on the page to the left, the center, or the middle. Center and middle are the same thing. You can align it to the left or the right or the center. Uh, the next type of content that you have is to embed a video, and you'll note you have very limited options. On the bottom of your screen, it says you can embed a video from YouTube, Vimeo, or Spark. And you'll just put the URL there, and it'll save and show in the browser. And we'll do that as soon as we start to play around with Adobe Page. The next option you have is to add a photo grid. And so you can upload as many pictures or choose as many pictures as you want. And it'll, again, use artificial intelligence to sort of lay them out on the page based on kind of their orientation, whether they're vertical or horizontal. So it'll build a lovely chunk of photo grid there. And I'll show you an example of that with some of the work that I have done. Your next option is really really a lovely one, and I'll show you an entire site that I've made with this. But a glide show is it's got some kind of moving elements, and there's some parallax happening. And if you're a web designer, you know what I'm talking about, but you'll know it when you see it here. essentially you'll be able to add a photo in the background. And then there's this little box where you can add a photo or text, a button, or a video. And I'll show you that. And what's really neat about it is that as the user scrolls through the page, there's some really nice animations happening there. So a nice way to make a stunning sort of high impact design. And the last option you'll have is this split screen where one side of the screen will be text and the other side will be an image. And this is really great addition. In fact, this is a new addition to the program, is that you can change the settings. So you can add a header or footer to your document, which means it'll add your brand logo at the top and at the bottom. It'll show who's authored it. And this is something you can toggle on and off. But you can also use Google Analytics along with this. So if you wanted to do some tracking on where your users came from and what they've clicked on and how long they've spent on it and so on and so forth, you can enter that Google tracking ID here. And I've used this and I'll show you what I got from that. The next thing is that you can share. So this will look very similar to the tools we used earlier this week. You can publish and share, send it to your Google Drive or invite others to edit along with you. And that's it. That's the simple tools. It really is more straightforward, I think, than video and post in some ways. And so I want to go ahead and show you some examples. Feel free to type in any questions that you have while I bring that screen up. So here we have the Canvas course shell that I was mentioning before. All of this has been updated. If you go into modules, you have each day the content that was shared, a description, links to get the app or links to Adobe Spark. It has the Zoom recording as well as the PDF of slides. And the slides themselves have the hyperlinks embedded, so you can take a look at all of that. And all of those are available for all 3 days of this workshop. This is one of the sites that I made with Adobe Page. This was an initiative from AIGA Arizona for Get Out the Vote. Now you can see when I hovered over the top, it brought up that header footer that I was talking about from the options. And so you can see kind of the logo happening there. Kiara wants to know, can you customize the domain? That's a great question. Yeah, you can. In fact, well, it's a little bit complicated. If you use a URL shortener, so for ASU, we have our own URL shortener and it's links.asu.edu. So I customized this page. Instead of saying Spark and all of these jumbly letters, I can actually go to links.asu.edu/get-out-the-vote and it'll go to this page. So you can't customize specifically this domain and change it, but you can use like a URL shortener to make it something that makes a little bit more sense. So yes and no. Kind of, but not really. So here is my site for Get Out the Vote. We did a collaborative social impact design challenge with all of the universities in Arizona, all of the design students. And you'll see that header with the logo kind of pops up there. And when I start to scroll down, you'll see that next, the top chunk starts to fade out. And then you can see I've used a split screen chunk with the image on one side and the text on the other. In the text, I have a brief description, I have a link, I have a heading, and I even have these calls to action, these buttons. Now, the purpose of this site was to get people, especially young people, to vote. So we've given them links to facilitate that. The next thing is that this particular event was having designers, student designers from the Arizona universities design a poster. So as I scroll down, you'll see that it's revealed. The poster starts to be revealed. This is what we call parallax. But this is the glide show option that you saw in the presentation. And if I scroll to right here, you can see the poster, and then it starts to zoom in, and you can see that box of information that is available with the glide show. So this has the artist as well as her university, a brief description, and then a button, a call to action. So she wanted to lead users to voter information from her poster. And if I scroll down, you can see the next poster is revealed, and that glide show text box is also revealed. So this site was entirely done with the glide show. So if I keep scrolling down, you'll see all of the posters that were entered into this. It's sort of an online gallery. And that has been super helpful in our little virtual world. To be able to share our work that we would typically do in a gallery or in-person setting, we can kind of do this. I won't scroll through all of them because there were actually 68 entries into this. It was hugely impactful. But I will scroll to the bottom so that you can see the footer, right? So we had the option to toggle that on and off, and you can see who it's created by. And you can even click appreciate. So you can see how many people liked the page, and then you can also see the credits. And so I only used one stock photo within the creation of this webpage. So it went ahead and put it there, which is amazing for citing your sources. So that's this site using primarily glide show. Here is another one that I did for an event. Our academic program holds a panel discussion with industry professionals. And if you see as I kind of hover over the top, it's got that header with the logo for the GIT program, which is what I work for. And then I'll scroll down and you'll see that top chunk just fading out a little bit. And then I have a chunk with some text, and I here put the panelists, their name and where they're from. This second or third chunk, I guess, is a photo grid. So I went ahead and added a bunch of photos, and Adobe Spark just laid them out in the way that made sense. And I think it did a beautiful job of it, paying attention to which ones were vertical and horizontal. Azim has a question. How do you publish it on the internet? That's a great question. The very last step in the process is to hit that share button, and that's what'll publish it to the web. It will not be published until you click that button. And at that time, it'll give you the hyperlink for your work. And you can change it. So if you need to make changes and edits, you can go back into it, make those changes, but then you'll have to republish, and then you can get that link. Great question. The next chunk I added just some more text, some links, and then I embedded some video. So this one was not made in Spark, but it was made in Zoom and uploaded to YouTube. So this is embedded right there, the actual recording from the event. And then I have added some photos with some statistics and some charts and graphs to kind of show some information on this. So this was a great way to use Adobe Spark Page for an event. And I have all of the information, including some follow-up thoughts from the audience and the panelists on how it went. And there again, it says created by and an appreciation, and then that branding is happening on the bottom. This is such a great way to encapsulate one event and be able to share that out. So if people weren't able to make it to this event, they can come to this page and get right up to speed. Marita has a question. Is it Marietta? I don't want to be mispronouncing it. Can you share with us how you pronounce your name? That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's Marita or Mariita, but Marita works fine.
All right, perfect, Mariita. Do you have to buy the domain? Absolutely not. It's totally free. That's one of the most amazing things about this. You can host this page. They host it for you for free. Don't have to buy a domain name at all. If you want to customize it so that it isn't spark.adobe/page/gibberish, then I suggest using a URL shortener like bit.ly or Google. And my employer, ASU, has their own. So it makes it easy for the students to remember. It's links.asu.edu and then / whatever you named it. So in this case, this one was called GIT panel, so that they could easily find it when they went to it. Some absolutely great questions happening. And now we're going to just move into Adobe Spark Page, and we'll have a whole hour to explore. So go ahead and open your Adobe Spark Page and make sure you're logged into that home page. And I'll go ahead and open up mine and you can follow along. All right, so here we are on this page. Go ahead and give me a yes in the participants window if you have a page open and you are ready to go. Fantastic. Excellent. All right. So here we are on the Adobe Spark homepage, and now you're getting pretty familiar with it. Yeah. The big old plus button in the blue bubble is where we'll add, we'll start a new project. You can always reach your projects from here. If you have the premium version and you have some brands or some libraries, you can access them from here. The top of this page is going to have just some popular sizes and popular things to do here. And then you'll scroll to see all of your recent projects. So there's my Get Out the Vote project. Here's the one we did yesterday or on Tuesday with the Atlanta nightclub. And then the video we did yesterday for the hotel in Ireland. So they'll save here and you'll be able to view all of them as you scroll through. And then as you go down farther, they have some templates that you might get up and running with. This is where you would edit. So if you hover over one of your projects, you can edit that project. If you use the triple dots, which is more, right? You can share or duplicate or move or rename or even unpublish should you want to unpublish your page after a while. Maybe it's time sensitive, something like that. You can do that all from here without actually getting into the project, which is also nice. Let's go ahead and click that plus button. And we're going to go to web page. It is, of course, your only choice, which makes it a little easier. Just like video, it was your only choice. And here we are on that artboard. And now we're going to go ahead and add a title. My design challenge for you today, which is brought to you by Sharpen.design, is to design a landing page for a luxury restaurant. Remember when we could go out to restaurants? I do. So we're going to go ahead and make a landing page for a luxury restaurant. So I'm just going to add a title to it, luxury restaurant. I am actually horrible at spelling, so if you see typos, just let it go. Not great at it. My subtitle for my luxury restaurant, it goes, it's a dining experience. My current dining experiences are always at home. Although I'm a big fan of ordering in food. That is my new favorite. All right, so we've added this title in our subtitle, and now I think it's a great time to go ahead and choose themes. So go up to the top right, click on themes, and you'll see if you have brands, it comes up right away. So this one is pulling in my AIGA Arizona brand and is automatically giving me themes within that color stream, which is fine. I can change that, switch the brand by clicking that switch button. And I can see this one is starred. That means it's the default. It's always going to go to that one. And then I have a student group that I am the advisor for. And then GIT is the academic program that I work for. But I can also add another brand, and you can create as many brands as you want. I think with the free version, you may be able to do one brand, but I may be wrong. It could be just a premium. I'm just going to leave it there because it's fine. I'm not going to choose any of these, but if you look, if you do choose them, it changes the layout of your show. So this is the first one, the Adobe Spark theme storybook. So you get this nice scripty writing that definitely says luxury to me. Maybe this one feels a little more rustic. Nightcap seems very bold. Crisp, ooh, crisp has a nice luxury feel to it, the shapes of those letters. Whimsy doesn't really feel luxury to me. Vintage, Baldwin, chic, ooh, that's nice. I probably am going to use chic. I like that one a lot. So you'll see it just starts to change the layout. It changes the font. It changes whether there's a background color and that sort of thing. So just scroll through and find which one works for you and the luxury restaurant brand that you would like to promote. I'm going to go back to chic. I think this font to me was the chicest, most elegant of them all, most luxury. Now that I have my title and my subtitle, I've got a theme. I'm going to go ahead and click this plus button. This is going to tell me what my options are. And so again, it's got these design constraints that don't let you mess it up, not without trying really hard. And so here it's just saying, you know what, the only thing you can do is add a photo. So I'll go ahead and click photo. And I will search through those free photos for food. And I want to find sort of luxury food. But if I type in luxury food, my guess is nothing will come up because that's kind of a weird, well, look at that. Stuff came up. That's awesome. Luxury food. So I might start to click through and find which of my options I'd like to choose. I find that with this, I am much better. I am much more likely to get a photo that I like right away. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about other programs like PowerPoint and Google Slides that would do sort of the same thing as video would do. But if I click through to look for video or images from the web from Google, I don't ever get stuff that's this nice, right? Never. And so that's because these are coming from stock photography sites like Pixabay and Unsplash, or Pixabay and Unsplash and Pexels. So I'm getting some pretty nice stock photography. I don't hate that. That feels luxury. I'm going to go ahead and keep with that. And you are welcome to follow along and make the exact choices that I do, or you should feel free to be totally creative and start making some of your own choices. All right, so we're set now with that first chunk. And chunk is literally the word we use in website design. That is the official terminology for it, that first chunk of information. Now we're going to add that second chunk. So if we scroll down a little, we can see there's a nice animation happening on that image. One that to code would be kind of terrible. When we go live, it'll also start to fade out and have this parallax effect. And to code that would be a nightmare. And here it does it automatically. All right, so now we're down to our next chunk and it says, do you want to do photo? You want to add some text or a button or a video, photo grid, glide show, or a split layout. And I think here might be a great time to do sort of some enticing photos for our food website. So I'm going to add a photo grid that'll automatically take me to a panel where I can choose the images for this layout. And now I'm just going to start clicking on photos, and Adobe Spark Page will just start laying them out in the best way it thinks they should be. So I'm going to go ahead and change this from luxury food to just food. And I'm just going to start picking, oh, that looks delicious. I'm going to start picking some fancy foods that I think this restaurant might serve, so that I can entice the viewers with the food for this restaurant. And at the same time, you know, Adobe is trying to figure out what to do with these images. And as soon as I add another one, it changed the whole thing. Yeah. And it'll continue to change that as I continue to add photos, which is awesome. So now you're probably scrolling through delicious photos of foods, looking at the ones you want to put in your photo grid. Almost all of the ones I've chosen here were horizontal, so I just purposely chose a vertical one. And look how it reshuffled kind of that website. Again, it's using that artificial intelligence, which is both wonderful and frightening. Adobe has other products that will actually take the sound of your voice and you can make it say whatever you want. Terrifying. You can also take a photo and it can manipulate it to be a video and like move your mouth to be talking in a very convincing way. Again, super awesome, but also super scary. All right, I've chosen a bunch of it yummy looking, elegant food photography here. And once I'm done with that, once I've chosen the ones that I want, I can just hit save at the top right of the page. And now it's going to incorporate that back into the website. And so now we're back into the whole web page and we have our luxury restaurant, a dining experience. We scroll down and we can see the photo grid that we just added. It's important to note that here, if I want to add a section or a chunk above this, I can go ahead and hit this plus sign. But if I'm looking at this on the website, I'm not going to see that. And so if I want to look at what this looks like on the website, I can click this preview button up at the top of the page, and it takes a couple seconds to load it up. And now I can see what it actually would look like in my web page. And so I can see those pluses are gone, which is nice. And now you can see the credits at the bottom of the page, a lot more credits than I had on the examples that I showed you, because this site I'm building entirely with the stock images that are built in. Any questions so far? You can go ahead and use the yes or no in the participants channel. If you have yes, if you have a question, no, if you're good. Just enjoying doing some design time. Excellent. Thank you for that feedback. All right, so we're going to scroll down to the next section. Oops, I forgot I was in preview. If that happens, there's a little X at the top right of the page. It gets you back to your in progress, your work. So now I can add a panel before this if I want to, or a panel after, or I can add a caption, which is probably a great idea. When I clicked on that add a caption, it automatically popped up with the text box options. And I might add some text that says a selection of our menu items. If I don't like the way that text looks, I can double click on it and I can make it bold. Maybe I want it to be a heading or a subheading. It's only giving me the option to be bold or italic, or to make this a link. So again, it's constraining even that much to say, yeah, no, it's a caption, just tell them what it is. Cool. If you notice these little eyes, the information here is when you click on those, it'll tell you where the source is. This is so important to making sure you attribute all of your work. And it does it for you, which is amazing. Azim says, I want to change the size of the photos. Yeah, you can't. It's one of those design constraints in which it doesn't really let you do too much with that. If I want to edit the grid, I can click on the grid and I can delete it altogether if I don't like it, or I can hit edit grid, and you can delete or add or switch the order that they're in. And you can make one bigger or smaller, but you can't change it to an exact size. So if I wanted to have all of these listed in full screen, but I wanted these three to be small, I could do that. So you can kind of change the size, but within constraints. I might want to lead with this photo. I don't know. Apparently I want salmon tonight. And I might then make these smaller. Ooh, yeah. So you have some control over that, but not all of it. That was a great question. Actually, I kind of like the way that looks. We'll keep that. But yeah, some of those design constraints meant to keep the page looking good is also really frustrating for those who want a very specific size or to do something specific. All right, we're in the next chunk of options, and I want to show you that glide show option because I think it's a really lovely way to make a web page. Once you click on it, it brings you into that art board, and you can either add photos, a couple of photos, or like I did in the one example I showed you, I just added one photo. So for this luxury restaurant, I might want to talk about sort of the fresh ingredients, something like that. So for the glide show, you can either add each separately. Each image that you add will have the opportunity to have a text box. So if you have a whole bunch that you want to show, we'll go ahead and put a few in. In this spot, we're just adding the images. Once we hit save and we go back to the whole web page, it'll give us the options to add the text for that. So I'll go ahead and hit save. And here we are back in our presentation. And if I'm just scrolling up to show you that. And then you can see kind of the beautiful animation that's happening here on the images, the two images we've just added. So I'll scroll back up to that first one with the blueberries, and this panel now on the left, I can hit the plus button. And here in this little space, I can add another photo. I can add some text, a button, or a video. And I'll probably add some text here and on each one that says, you know, farm fresh ingredients. Ingredients. Did I mention how spelling is not my strong? It's mostly typos. I mean, I can spell, but I am the typo queen. Now I can still answer. I just messed it up again. I can still add content here. I can add as much as I want. So I have the plus sign if I want to add some content before this or add some after. And I think this would be a great place to put a video of maybe the ingredients being farmed. So let's go ahead and add a video. But I'm going to grab the one that we did yesterday, which won't make any sense with this content, but I'm going to grab the video that I made yesterday in our video session. And put it here. Just to show you what that would look like. You can also add from YouTube or Vimeo. So I'm going to grab that video for the Hotel Ireland and I'll grab just the link for it. And it'll add that right into that little text box in the glide show. All right, so here I am just pasting that in and hit save. And now it's embedded into this little text box. If I want to see what this is going to look like, I can go up here to the preview button. And now I can preview this whole website and I'll just scroll back up to the top because I want to get the whole experience. My luxury restaurant, a dining experience. I'm leading with the food, which makes a lot of sense for a luxury restaurant. So I have that photo grid of all of the food images that I picked with some text that says the selection of our menu items. And then the glide show starts. And so again, that animation kind of scrolling in and the image is getting bigger. And as I scroll, that text box comes up that says farm fresh ingredients. And then it doesn't totally make sense to have my Hotel Ireland there, but that's where it is nonetheless. So we could play the video from there. And we can add other types of content here, including a button. Azim, I am reading your mind still. So adding a button is adding like a link to somewhere. So a call to action, if you will, to somewhere else. And so it might be here that we want to add a call to action about making a reservation, or since we're talking about the farm fresh ingredients, it might want to be like a link to the farm where we get our ingredients. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'll close out of the preview and here I'll add a button. So I might want to link to my, my farm, and I can add whatever URL is the farm. I don't have a farm website off the top of my head, so I'll just go ahead and put asu.edu. And then I can switch the position, the alignment of this button. So I'm just going to put it in the middle. So this is the alignment, and I'll hit save. Oop, I added two typo. It's my thing. And for this particular theme that I chose, this is how it deals with buttons. It has the word and then a little arrow that's next to it. If I change the theme, which I'm going to do now, it'll change what this button looks like, because I wouldn't really say this is a button. It's really a link. This little arrow is the only thing that's showing me that this is going to take me somewhere else. So if I change the theme, now look, that button looks a little different. And sometimes I choose my theme entirely based on what the button is going to look like. because I just want it to be obvious that it's a button. And I don't think that the one in this with the little arrow next to it is as obvious as I want it, but I can't really do anything else with it. Maybe I decide I want to change that alignment. If I choose align to the left, it can move it there. Yeah, not my favorite button actually, in terms of style. I'd like it to be bigger and more obvious. So I can add more things here, or I can leave it and go down to the next box, which is with the tomatoes. And I can add some more information here. I don't need to say farm fresh ingredients because I've already said that, but I could maybe add some text about these tomatoes itself, sort of vine ripened. That's a thing, right? Vine ripened. Not much of a foodie. And then I have those text boxes or those addition boxes to add some content before or after. And then now that I've added a few things, I want to go back to that preview and take a look at how it's all coming together. Azim asks, can I upload a document? You cannot. Yeah, you can link to an uploaded document though. So if you wanted to add a PDF to something, you could add a link to it, but you would have to host that PDF somewhere else. So you can link to other content, but you cannot upload a document. Part of those design constraints to kind of keep this the one-page web page, the kind of single story, single thought. Great question. Any other questions as we are kind of moving through this design? Any particular design chunks that you wanted to see? I wish chunks wasn't the actual word for that, but it is. I'll go ahead and close to this preview. And we've added a photo, we've added some text, we've added a button, we added a video, we added a photo grid, we added a glide show. Let's go ahead and add a split layout. In the split layout, you have an image on one side, and then you have the option on the other side to add another image and or some text and or a photo and or a video. So let's go ahead and then you can actually switch their sides with this button that switches in the middle. So let me go ahead and add an image here. I like this one. Some fancy little cookies. And then on the other side, I might want to add another photo with some delicious desserts. But you'll notice on this one that this side is modular. It means I can add lots of different things to it. So I might put some text on here that talks about the desserts. Add a caption to kind of cupcakes. I don't know, a fancy word for cupcake. I was trying to think of something. And I can add some more content above or below or in between all of this. I like the way that looks. So I'll go ahead and leave that. Now, if I decide I don't like it, I can switch it. I'll tell you why I don't think it works switched, because this image is what we call an open image. It means it doesn't close, right? We don't see the entire bowl of cookies, and it works better if it's going off a screen than it does like being switched in the middle of the screen. So I'll leave that like this. Makes sense to put desserts at the bottom, right? Desserts are last. And I can start adding other chunks or start editing these if they make sense. or I can preview again to see if I've reached where I want to get to with this particular web page. This is annoying to me as a web designer developer, is that there's just the tiniest 1 pixel margin between these. It's adding a really fine line. And sometimes that might be a design choice that I'm making, but between these two photos where this one has a dark background and this one has a dark background, I don't love it. But again, can't really change that. Not able to make those small tweaks. Whereas with a program like WordPress, I could use kind of the full WYSIWYG version of it that would be similar to this, but then I can go in and make those tiny changes. But much harder to get up and running with WordPress. Much larger learning curve, where this is much easier to drop into. All right, so now I've decided this is perfect. This is the web page I was looking for my luxury restaurant. I've looked at it in preview. I'll go ahead and close. If I hit present, it just goes full screen. So it's exactly like preview, except for now we're looking at it in full screen. Go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to go to share. This is where I'm going to publish that link. I can also send it to my Google Drive should I want to save it there as well. But I'll go ahead and click publish. And there's a couple of details it wants to know first for SEO reasons. What's the title of it? Luxury website. I'm going to call it education right now. Well, I'll call it food, whatever, it's food. There's a couple of categories you can kind of drop it into. You can add the author information or not. There's a toggle to kind of give you that. And a new option here, you can change what your name is. Then you have your photo credits and you can add some. So if you uploaded some photos, you could add them there with their photo credit. And then there's a section to get noticed. Your project may be featured on the Adobe Spark website. If I wanted people to find this, that's absolutely what I would do. I'm not going to check that right now because this was just for demonstration purposes. And then I'm going to create the link. This site is not published at all until you create this link. So we'll hit create link. It does take a few seconds for that to get up and running. And then here you are in the share. So I can click to copy this link. This is what my link would look like. Let's look at published options. That goes back to publish. Got it. And so you can copy that link here, or you can go straight to posting this to Facebook, Twitter, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. You can email it to someone, or this is pretty awesome. You can embed it. So if you wanted to embed it into another web page, or you could do that here. So I'll go ahead and copy that link. And now if I go to another browser tab, I could paste that here. And it would automatically go to the published web page. And from here, I won't be able to edit it. I'm looking at the live site. Honestly, pretty amazing. Restaurants have historically had the worst web pages of all time. I am not sure where that came from, but typically restaurant web pages are terrible. This one is already better than most that I've seen. So very easily able to get up and running with a stunningly designed website without kind of trying even too hard or having any coding skills whatsoever. Then if you wanted to customize the domain, again, you can't do it from Adobe Spark, but answer in the participants window, how many of you are affiliated with ASU? Are you affiliated with ASU? Yes or no? Okay. like most of you. Cool. So we have that URL shortener that is links.asu.edu. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about already, or if this is new to you. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, let me show you a little trick that I know. Go to links.asu.edu and I'll put that in the chat after I remember what my password is. Don't save that. Duo authenticate. Fun fact, my husband works for UTO at ASU, and every time I have to duo authenticate, I scream his name. Why? Okay. This is ASU's link shortener. It's links.asu.edu. You can type right here whatever it is you want to name this page. So I'm going to just call it Spark Page Post, which is super long, but you could call it food or the name of the restaurant or whatever it is. And I can take that URL that's been published. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it here in what the URL is. And then this nightmare is going to now be links.asu.edu/Spark Page Post. That's also really long, but if I want this link to be public, if I want other people to be able to get to it, I'll click here. I can change this later. And then I click add short link and it'll say, yeah, that works. I can use this now as my custom URL, which is much more shareable than the garbage that little letters that Adobe gives out. I use this for everything. And so you can always go to links.asu.edu and you can see I'm signed in, and then you can click to my links and you can see all of the short links that you've made. I've made dozens and dozens. I have pages and pages of them because they're so much easier to remember. And the students already know the links.asu.edu. So all you have to say is, oh, go to links at GOTV, which is get out the vote. And then it's easy for them to remember. What it also does is allow you to track how many people have clicked on your link. So 501 people or 501 clicks for this particular short link, GIT RSVP, 272, but 0 for this one. So that tells me a lot. It means no one's using this link or they're not advertising it very well. Hope that was helpful for you. Links.asu.edu. If you work for ASU, you have this. If you don't and you want to have a more specific or a more friendly link, you can look for link shorteners. It's called URL shortener. There's a couple of them out there. Bitly is a really common one. Google's is also pretty common. But it makes it a little bit easier to grab a shorter link. I think especially when you're sharing things like Google Docs have like 1,000 characters to them. It's way easier to use a link shortener to at least just make it a little more accessible. All right, any questions? We moved through this one pretty quick. Now that we're pros with Adobe Spark, we're able to get up and running pretty fast. Is anyone ready to share their link? You can go ahead and add your link to the chat and I'll open it here if you're comfortable with that. Excellent, Kiara, thanks. I'm going to go ahead and open that. And I'm going to change the screen I'm shared on. Dine in luxury, bringing the restaurant experience to you. That is all about luxury, right? Oh, And then you've got a photo grid with some exquisite pieces of culinary affair. Love it. Then your glide show with your ingredients. Perfect. Oh, you even added a YouTube video with farming about herbs. Fantastic. And then the visit our farm button. Fantastic. Some authentic ingredients. Guaranteed an experience that will titillate the senses and provide lifelong memory. Nice. Oh, perfect. I love that you've added this part to the story. The end of the story is you're walking off on your special occasion with the love of your life. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Excellent job, Kiara. Love it. Let's see if we have some more here to share. Michael says, are users not affiliated with ASU able to access the link's website if we make it public? Yes, yeah, absolutely. If you're using the links.asu.edu service for a shortener, if you make the link public, literally anyone will be able, you'll share it with anyone. It'll be live online. Mm-hmm. How long will it take for the videos of these classes to be available on the innovation site? They are already there. Let me show you where they're at. They are in your homepage. So if you're looking at the innovation website, which I'll open up right now so that you can see where you get to. If you are looking at the classes that you're signed up for, whether you're looking at the class you're in right now, like this one, visual storytelling, you'll see on the top right that you can go to your student dashboard or go to Canvas. Go ahead and click on Canvas, and that brings you to the site. And from here, and I'll just switch back to the other one, and I'll switch into student mode so you can see it exactly the way you see it. There you go. It's in the modules. So home will tell you what the course is about. Modules, all of this information is here. So in this first chunk of content, you have day 1, 2, and 3, and this will have everything we did about day 1, including a description, links to the web app as well as the native apps, the recording for the class, and the slides. So those are already available for days 1 and 2. Let me show you day 2. So day 2 has all of those up as well. And then day 3 has everything but this recording, which will be available pretty quickly after class, probably within an hour. You can get to this Canvas site at any time. This won't go away. And I'll go ahead and copy that link and add it to the chat now so you can access it, and let me know if you have any troubles getting access to it. What is happening? There we go. Andrea asks, when or why would we choose to save to drive rather than directly with someone through Spark or keep it in our projects? To save it to the drive, you really are just saving a copy of it. So it's sort of the equivalent of download when we looked at video or post. In post, you could download as a JPEG or a PNG. If you had animations, you could save it as an MP4. And a new addition is that you could add as a PDF. In video, you could download the MP4 or share. And for the web page, really the only place that you could save it would be to Google Drive. Yeah, no problem. If you were making a site and you wanted to unpublish it, you could also do that. So if we were in Adobe Post, and I'll go back there. if we were in going back to the homepage for Adobe Spark, and I've got my luxury restaurant project here, I can go in and edit it now if I want to, or I can go to this option with more. And I can grab the published link from there. I can duplicate this project if I want to experiment. So if I want to leave the live site up and running and then kind of experiment on a redesign for it, I can kind of leave that as a project that's unpublished for a while. I can move it to another place, or I can unpublish it. So my luxury restaurant didn't take off and I want to go ahead and close it down. I can unpublish that from here. But you'll be able to edit all of these projects. They're automatically saved here in the cloud. Additionally, if you want to download them, you have that option, and I typically do. You can also get a couple of statistics like analytics from the bottom of the page here. So I viewed this luxury restaurant twice. That's what the eyeball is, and it's gotten 0 appreciations. But Get Out the Vote has been viewed 695 times, which is absolutely amazing to me, and has 6 appreciations. So you can start to see kind of how many times they've been viewed. A lot of these I'm making for in-class demos, so they don't get viewed, but others do. This Behance workshop, 261 views. If I'm using the link shortener, whether it's ASU's or any other, it also will track how many clicks it's getting. And then with that page, with Adobe Page, you do have that option to use the Google Analytics tracking, which is a really nice feature, and you're able to get some more robust data out of it. How do we dispose of projects in Adobe once it's unpublished? Yeah, great question. So you can absolutely get rid of a page. I had already started deleting some of the weird stuff I've been making throughout this week. Oh, like here, this one, my post from Monday with Hey Girl. Not my best work ever, right? Something we were putting together. And so if I'm like, yeah, I definitely don't want anybody seeing that again. From my post homepage, I can hover over, look at those 3 dots, and I can delete it. Note that that will delete it. It is testing my patience right now. You can hit delete from there. And it's deleted forever. If you wanted to just unpublish the luxury website, you could do that. I don't know why it's jumping around and not letting me do those things all of a sudden, but I don't know, 2020. But yes, you can delete them from here as well. Great questions. Would anyone else like to share their Adobe Page product? Awesome. Simple is good, Crystal. Let's do it. All right. Oops. It is just loading. Give it a second. Oh, so Crystal, you've actually shared the preview with me. Go ahead and click the publish button and copy that URL. And we'll take a look. Anyone else, while Crystal gets that one up and running, anyone else want to share with us what you've done? I would also love to hear some takeaways for this week. If you have joined and had a good time with this, let me know. Let me know how you might use this. Ooh, black and white crystal, very nice, super fancy. Luxury restaurant with gourmet endeavors. Beautiful. Nice job on the photo grid. Some fancy foods. A lovely shot of the restaurant outside, spacious outdoor seating, casual dining. Great hall for special occasions. Another photo grid. Oh, showing the special occasions. I love it. So nice. Get together and enjoy the night. Nice job, Crystal. Kelly has a question. If I update the page after publishing, does that generate a new URL or will it need to be shared? Great question. No, it's the same. It's the same URL. So you can make changes and republish and it's the same URL. So you don't need to reshare. Great question. Awesome. So if you would like to share the project page that you're working with, go ahead and put that in the chat. If you have thoughts on how you might use this, your newfound skills for Adobe Spark, I'd love to hear them. What you might use it on. I know on the first day, some of you thought you might use this for class demonstrations. Video seems like a good option for that. Some of you thought you might use it for real estate. That would be really nice. Do I teach similar classes online? Yes, at ASU, I teach design, visual design, and my freshmen use Adobe Spark products because they don't know how to use Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, sort of the Pro Tools yet. So we teach them design in these WYSIWYG tools. Yep. And I teach classes both online and in person. Crystal asks, can we also use these for self-promotion, like showcasing your accomplishments? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that is part of the reason I put these together. It's obviously part of my job to be doing service for my academic program and my school. And so this directly goes into my CV or my resume, right? To show kind of the stuff that I did. So it has kind of twofold reasons, like students who weren't able to make it or wanted to rewatch it can come back here and take a look. But also this is sort of proof of, this is the stuff that I worked on this year. Absolutely. It would be a great start for a portfolio or a resume website too. I think that would be a great idea. Yeah. How else will you be using some of these skills, whether it's from post, making social media graphics or video, or this web page? How might you use these for yourself? And if you're ready to share your project, go ahead and put your link in the chat. I'd love to see it. Kiara says, I really like the ease of the web page for a landing page. Yeah, it is really nice. One thing I want to point out is on the websites that we've been making, this first chunk of the page, all of them are 100% of the screen. And if I'm looking at it, it just looks like there's an image. It doesn't look like you can scroll. There's no sort of visual indication that there's more information if you scroll. So almost every time I use it, I add an image. I add this down arrow to the image. Now I have to do that in Photoshop, but you could do it in Adobe Page to indicate that there's information. Scroll down. So you'll notice that I did that on both of these examples here. So in Adobe Page, I would take the image that you want to put in the background for your Adobe post that you want to do in Page and add a little icon so that the user knows that there's room to scroll down. It is so weird that they don't do that automatically, but to me, it's good user experience to indicate like, oh yeah, there's more information below here. Terry says, as a non-designer, never built a web page type human. This was amazing. Oh, awesome. Yeah, it is a super easy way to get up and running with a web page. You were very clear, fun, and comfortable and encouraging. Oh, thank you, Terry. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. These are fun projects. Like, I love what I do. You know, I'm a designer. I get to design stuff, but as a teacher, I also get to share it with students who love it too. So this is the best job. Crystal said, I think this would help supplement CV. Have not played with it before, but want to play with it more. Crystal, absolutely. So these are exactly during promotion and tenure, you kind of have these supplemental documents that you submit. This is absolutely one of those things that I would submit. I hosted these events. And here's a whole web page on it. So I would have a whole web page to kind of show them, like, I put together this event. Here's all the things that went into it. And now it looks like a thing, right? Like, I mean, it was a thing, but like it feels just like we're celebrating this event, right? That this thing happened and how amazing it was. So it is absolutely a part of that CV or supplemental documents to show what it is you do. Excellent. We are a few minutes early. And so I'm happy to answer any other questions that you might have. And I'm happy to give you 8 minutes of your life back. So with that, I'll go ahead and say thank you so much for joining me for the Adobe Spark Visual Storytelling course. I'll go ahead and stop the recording. And if you'd like to ask some questions, you're welcome to stick around. And if not, thank you so much.